Hi guys.
Hi.
This is Etta and Arlene, and welcome to our Spirit Cast. We are both Reiki masters, certified in guided meditation. If you're new to our podcast, we talk about all things metaphysical, mindfulness, Reiki, tarot, and the like. Today we have a guest. Her name is Cristina Aroche, and we're super excited to have her. So Christina, you should tell everybody what you do and introduce yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much, guys, for having me. I'm so excited. So yes, as you guys mentioned, my name is Cristina Aroche, and I call myself the Archangel Channel, and I am a spiritual teacher, mentor, and healer. And basically, what I do is I channel the angels. I mainly teach and talk about the archangels, but I do connect with other angelic beings. And what I do is I help people to deepen their connection to the angels, and through that connection with the angelic realms, I support people in being able to open up to who they truly are and discovering what their purpose is and opening up to their gifts and their abilities, and really just healing and releasing the things that hold them back from being who they were always meant to be. And so like I said, I do that with the help of the angels, and I guide people on their journey of spiritual growth and awakening. And like I said, most importantly, help people to recognize the presence of angels in their everyday life. So that's a little bit about me.
Oh man, that's so cool.
Man, we're over here just so excited to talk to you. You're so
Fangirling.
hard. So I found your YouTube channel a while ago, and I literally tune in every week for your Monday messages. They're so interesting, and what you do is amazing. Period.
Thank you. That's awesome. That's awesome to hear that you're tuning. You love the messages, because it's something that it's one of those things where every single week it's like people need to hear this. People need to hear this. So I'm happy that it reaches people, and it resonates with people, because it's something that I love doing. So
that was so cool.
It is.
Yeah. So how did you get started with all this?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So it was really interesting. So I'll just start from the beginning to say that I was never the type of person before all this happened, which was about 3 years ago now, that would say, yeah, I love angels, I talk to angels, or anything like that. Like, before all this happened, I wasn't really, like, I knew about angels, and I thought that was great, but I was not that type of person who was obsessed with angels or anything like that. And so for me, my spiritual journey kind of started, I guess you could say, back in 2012, when I hit rock bottom with regards to my health. And so with my health journey, my whole entire life, I had chronic eczema, which is basically like a skin condition. Your skin is super dry and itchy, and it, can be in different degrees of severity, but mine was pretty bad. And like, I'd been battling with it on and off for a really long time. And then in 2012, I just kind of hit rock bottom with it. And I was like, I can't live like this anymore. Like, I was flared up like everywhere. Like, it was a hot summer, and I was covering myself up and wearing long sleeve shirts, because I was just so embarrassed and ashamed and just feeling like I couldn't really live my life. And so at that point, I was like, I need to do something differently. Like, I can't live like this anymore, and I need to figure this out. And so basically that led me on the journey of actually first going into like nutrition and just healing myself, learning to love myself. That's when I first found Louise Hay and started to listen to her stuff and listen to her meditations. And that helped me a lot with like the self-love aspect, and also, like I said, the nutrition aspect, and just taking care of myself in general. And then through that part where I did heal myself through that aspect of really just taking care of my body and loving myself, I then was inspired. I was like, I'm going to teach other people how to, heal themselves and that kind of thing. So I ended up enrolling into a nutrition program. And through that program is when I first actually discovered spirituality, because through that, it was like holistic nutrition, holistic healing. And one of the things covered was spirituality. And that was the first time when I actually read the book, I forget now which book it was, but there was a book that we read, and that was the first time when I actually kind of like opened up to the idea that there's a universe, and that there's, a greater presence that supports us and that guides us and that loves us. And I was just so awestruck. I was like, whoa, that's interesting. That was the first time when I kind of like was paying attention to that, and I thought, oh, that's really cool. And then that kind of faded away, but it kind of left an imprint in my mind. And then after a little while, a few years since that 2012 episode and like going through the healing and stuff like that, this was probably now coming into 2015, so like 3 years later, I ended up getting another kind of like eczema flare up. And I was like, whoa, this doesn't make any sense, because I'm doing really good in terms of my health and I'm really taking care of myself. Like, I consider myself to be really healthy and like taking good care of my body and that kind of thing. So I was so confused as to why this eczema flare up started again. And, I was kind of looking for answers, trying to figure it out nutritionally, scientifically, logically, and nothing was really working. And I was just like, okay, whatever, like, I'm just going to leave it and hopefully it kind of goes away on its own kind of thing. And so then alongside that, I ended up discovering meditation. This was like end of 2015 now. I discovered meditation, and I had found someone's blog post somehow. It's one of those things where now looking back, I'm like, yeah, that was so guided by the universe and by the angels. But at the time, I just randomly found this blog post that talked about meditation. And the girl who wrote it said how she did like this 30-day meditation experiment and how it basically just changed her life. And I was like, that sounds really interesting. I'm going to try doing that. And so that's when I started. So the end of 2015 was when like the next breakthrough happened. And that's really when this whole thing kind of launched me into this world of spirituality. Because after that, starting to meditate, which I had no idea what to do. I was just like, I'll just tune into my breath for a few minutes and see what happens, like that kind of thing. And that started to evolve, where I started to really feel this connection to myself again. And miraculously, even though, I know exactly why this happened, my eczema started to go away. Like that little flare up that I had started to go away. It started to heal on its own because I was now connecting to my spiritual self. It was like I had focused so much on like the physical aspect of healing, and that was really great. But there was still something on a spiritual level that needed to be addressed, and it was being shown to me through that second flare up that I had. And so, so then I was getting really into spirituality, just kind of like looking up YouTube videos, just reading books, and just really diving into this whole world of like what it means to be connected to the universe and what is the universe and how does this all work. And that's really when I started to get into the work of like Gabby Bernstein and Marianne Williamson, who talked about, like living in the energy of love and not transforming fear into love, basically. Do you know what I mean? And so I was so fascinated by that. And at that point, in terms of my business and career and stuff like that, I had up until that point had been focused on, I'm going to help people heal through nutrition because that's what helped me and stuff like that. And when I started to discover this work and getting into the world of spirituality, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to be a spiritual teacher. That's what I want to talk about. That's what I want to share with people. But at the same time, I was like, I don't know how to do that. Like, who am I to be talking about spirituality? And no one would believe me, or I don't know, just saying those kinds of things, out of fear. And so this is 2016 now that this is happening, and I'm discovering all this stuff, and I'm like, I love, all of this spiritual work and stuff like that, and started to get onto Facebook, finding different communities on Facebook through Facebook groups and stuff like that, where people were talking about spirituality. And then that kind of led me into more of the deeper stuff around like energy healing and working with energy and being able to connect and tune in. And I was like, whoa, wait, what? You can actually talk to spirit guides and you can talk to the angels and you can get information and you can tune into energy. That sounds really, really cool. But that's probably not me because, I wasn't born with that. Like that's what I was saying to myself. I was saying that I couldn't do it because, for whatever reason, but I was like, this seems amazing. And so I would just like dive into anything that I could digest and read and all that stuff. And then what ended up happening is I found this spiritual mentor who offered a coaching program where she basically kind of helped you to connect to yourself on a deeper level, kind of like it was like a soul spiritual exploration kind of type of program. And I was really drawn to it because at that point I was kind of feeling like, okay, if I just knew myself on a deeper level, then I could really know how I'm supposed to show up and how I'm supposed to serve people and kind of thing, because I was trying to get my nutrition stuff going, and that business wasn't really that successful. So I was trying to figure out, like, how can I actually, help people, and what am I supposed to be doing? What is my purpose? So I enrolled in this program, and literally the first session we connect with Archangel Raphael, and it was the most profound, crazy, like such an experience that I will never forget. Like to this day, I still can clearly remember myself sitting on my couch, talking to this woman, and she's guiding me in this connection with Archangel Raphael. And I just remember how he felt when he stepped in, and like my heart chakra just like it felt like it exploded, Yeah. It was just like, I was like, oh my gosh, like what is this? This is crazy. And it was just like the most immense love that I had ever felt, and the most intense connection. You know what I mean? Up until this point, I didn't really ever, I guess, consciously connect with energy or felt it in such a profound way. And so I felt that, and it was just such an amazing connection. And so basically, after that, she was kind of saying, like, start to connect with your spirit guides. And so up until that point, before we had started our work together, I had been kind of like praying to my spirit guides and just kind of like talking to them, kind of, hey, like guide me, support me, just kind of saying things out loud, not really expecting an answer back, but just saying, I'm ready to show up. I'm ready to live in my purpose. I'm ready to do what I'm supposed to do. Like, show me, guide me, just kind of throwing it out there. And so shortly after that, I had started then kind of trying to communicate with them through channel writing, where I would just kind of sit down and say, like, what do I need to know? Show me what to do. And I was really surprised at how it kind of just flowed to me. Like, I would just kind of start writing and start hearing and just feeling into what was being said to me. And so after that session with Archangel Raphael, what I had heard, what I had received was, you need to start connecting with the angels, because this is going to be very important for you and what you're supposed to be doing. And I remember like getting that message, and I was like, really? I'm supposed to connect with angels? Like, that's not really what I had in mind. I was thinking something more similar along the lines of like what Gabby Bernstein or Marianne Williamson were doing, like, angels, that's cool, but you really want me to practice? Like, I don't. And I was logically trying to think of, how is angels going to fit into my nutrition business? You know what I mean? I was like, wait, how does that supposed to fit in? Like, I don't understand. But I was just like, okay, whatever. I'll practice tuning into the angels. So after that, I had, so this is now the very end of 2016. This is like December 2016 that this is happening. And so I'm like, okay. So I remember one night I was lying in bed, and I was like, okay, I'm going to connect with Archangel Raphael, because I had tuned into his energy before. And the feeling that I got was so crazy, because as soon as I was like, okay, Archangel Raphael, I'm going to tune into you, it was like, I felt like the entire room just filled up with his energy. Like, his energy comes in a green color, and it was like the entire room filled up in this green color. And I was like, whoa, that's so weird, And so I could just feel him there, and I felt his energy, and I was like, okay, that's what he feels like. Okay, cool. Then there's another incident that happened where I forget what the reason was, but what I was feeling was, I was feeling very low in my confidence. I was feeling very just kind of like anxious and uncertain in myself. And so I kind of just like said this prayer out loud. I was like, please help me, like, angels, someone, God, universe, someone, please help me. Like, help me to shift this energy, help me to move through this. And then again, I don't know why this always happened when I was laying in bed, but I was laying in bed, and it's like I felt this angel stepping forward, and I knew it was an Archangel Raphael. I felt that it was a different energy, and I could see it was kind of like this pinkish color that came through. And and this angel started to say to me, different things about like accepting myself and loving myself, and basically helping me to she was guiding me in releasing this anxiety feeling, that low confidence feeling that I had been experiencing. And then when I asked what her name was, I heard Jophiel, and I was like, okay, never heard of that name before. Like, who's Jophiel? Who's Archangel Jophiel? And as soon as I go to Google to validate this, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is real, so, and then it just evolved from there. And then like at the very, very, very end of December, it was like a few days before New Year's, then Archangel Raphael and Archangel Jophiel had come to me in a meditation, like in a meditative journey that I was doing. And that's when they told me, they were like, you are meant to bring in the energy, the messages, the connection of the angels. That's who you are. You're meant to teach about the angels. You're meant to bring our messages. You're meant to share this on a wide scale level, basically, is what they were saying. And I was like, what? You want me to do what? So, it went from like me just having this practice, like this is my own spiritual practice, I don't really talk about it with anyone, to you want me to go out and tell people about angels and teach about them? What? And so that's basically how it started. And so so this was the very end of 2016. Beginning of 2017, it was like the first week of January, I literally went to, onto my audience that I had been growing with regards to my nutrition and holistic healing business. And I was like, listen, guys, this is what's been going on. Like that's literally what I did. It was kind of like a video that I made sharing my truth and just being like, this is what's been happening. Because up until that point, I hadn't really been sharing much about my spiritual journey. And so I just went on there and said, this is what's been going on. And so now I'm transitioning this business, and this is going to be more about spirituality and angels. And that's where it started. And ever since then, it's been growing, and it's been so amazing and so fulfilling, and just like the best decision I've ever made. But that's kind of the transition of how I got into it. So I went from someone who didn't really think about angels much, didn't really believe that I could be a channel or that I could work with energy or whatever, to now talking about angels all the time and can't really even remember what life was like without talking to angels. You know what I mean? I'm like, how did I live life before? I don't understand. So yeah, so that's kind of been my journey with that.
Over here, we're like, yes, this is so awesome. Wow, this is great. So when you did the video for your audience on Facebook, what was their reaction to that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So a lot of people were actually really open to it. They're like, wow, that's really cool. That's amazing. Like, yeah. And I do think that there were some people who kind of left after that. They're like, oh, okay, that's not really for me. That's cool. But, I didn't get any sort of, backlash or judgment or anything, at least not, outwardly to my face or anything like that. The majority, everything that I really saw was a really positive reaction, and people were really interested and really excited about it.
So cool. I feel like that's kind of like, we had our business and we had it one way, but now we've like completely shifted, and we're like, okay, guys, this is what we're about. Whereas before we're more private with our spiritual practices,
like extremely private.
And now we're just like out in the open, and we're like, yeah, this is what we're doing. And not, with this podcast, we're interested in spiritual journeys of everybody.
And,
yeah, that's so cool. I have a question about angel like messages. Okay, so you do these angel meditations and things like that, and will people get different messages to the same video? So one time my sister and we did a meditation. It was an angel meditation, and it was just audio, but both of us got different messages. What are your thoughts on that? Do the angels do that?
Yeah, totally. So definitely 100%, because especially, in the way that I hold the space, and the way that the meditations are, the way that I'm guided to do them, is that it is meant for everyone to have a unique experience. So unless I'm directly like sharing something or saying this is what the angel is saying, when an angel steps forward in a meditation and shares a message with you or brings you something or whatever it may be, some sort of energy healing, it is completely unique to you. And that's what I absolutely love about this work, is that it gets to be your unique personal experience and journey. And you can't really compare it to anyone else. So yeah, that is totally normal and a really great thing, I would say, that you guys got different messages. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what got us hooked on angels.
Like got us into it. Like it literally felt like it was overnight that we went down the angel journey, and started to actually try to connect with, spirit guides and all that. Like it felt like it was like overnight that we got interested in it. Cause like before, like I know for me, like I wasn't super religious and I didn't think about the archangels at all.
No.
Like, I feel like in our society, it's easy to feel like small. Like this is like what you see is it. That's it. And I definitely got stuck in that cycle for a while. And all of a sudden, like probably around 2016, I think is when it was like, the switch came on. I was like, okay, there's way more.
So we started meditating, and then we happened to do an angel meditation. And we, like I said, we both got different messages, and then we just got hooked. And I actually think it was Archangel Metatron
for you,
for me, but she had a different angel.
I think I had Michael. I feel like Michael always comes through for me. A lot.
But I didn't know who Archangel Metatron was at the time. I was like, who is this? What are signs that your angels are around?
That's a really good question. So one of the biggest signs that they bring when they're around us are angel numbers. So this is basically like a repetitive sequence of numbers. So it could be like 1111 or 222 or whatever, any of that kind of repetitive sequence. That's a big sign that a lot of people kind of notice, and when they begin to awaken to the presence of angels. And another one is feathers. So that's a big one too. That's really, really cool. Is finding feathers, especially when you find feathers in a random place where it doesn't really seem like it logically makes sense why a feather ended up there. That's another big sign from the angels. And another thing that a lot of people I've noticed is that for people is that they will also start to hear their names, or just like feel like they're repeating an angel's name over and over and over again. Like I've had so many people that I've heard from people saying that they'll wake up from a dream or something and it's like they're repeating a name, like Michael, or Metatron, or whatever. And that is also another sign that the angels are around you. So like if you keep repeating a name and you're just like, why am I saying this name, or why does this name keep coming to me? That's the name of the angel that is coming forward for you. But angel numbers and feathers are even the biggest ones that really I guess you could say sparks people's curiosity, and that's when they begin to kind of look into this world and like, oh, what does this mean? You know what I mean?
Wow. Oh, that's so cool.
That is very cool.
What about, do colors, like our color, like if you see the same color, is that a sign?
Yeah. So especially if you're sitting in like meditation, and you see a certain color coming in, yes, because that's the main way in which angels do step forward. They step forward in different colors and more in this energy. It's just kind of like an energy of light, more so than like an actual figure. But so that's another one. Another thing too, now that you mentioned that, is if if you guys have had this experience where it's kind of like out of the corner of your eye, it felt like there's like a flicker of light.
Oh my God.
Or just kind of like this orb of energy, just like a split second, and you look again, you're like, wait, did I imagine that, or did I actually see that?
Yeah, that happens to me all the time. And I thought, I said to her, I was like, Arlene, I keep seeing these like flickers in the corner of my eye. That's so weird. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's another sign.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So like sometimes it's like white or like a normal light color, but sometimes like I've had blue, I've had like actual colors.
Yep.
Oh my
Yep.
goodness.
100%. Yeah. So what you can do is also like when that happens, you can just kind of ask or tune in and be, one, you could just acknowledge and be like, oh, hey, like, thanks. I'm grateful that you're here, whatever, that kind of thing. But then you can also ask and say like, who's around me? Just kind of like have that curiosity of like, who is it? I just want to, say hi to you and connect to you, like that kind of thing. You can definitely ask. But yeah.
Man. Oh, I'm going to start doing that.
Yeah, you're going to have to.
Yeah.
Guardian angels. Do you know if there's a set number people usually have with them? Because like from my understanding, when you're like, you are assigned your guardian angel when you're like, before you're born, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going to ask the professional.
I'm like, ask her.
So is that I'm correct on that? Like you are assigned your guardian angel and your team before you're even born.
Yep. So before you come into Earth, you know who your guardian angels are, your spirit guides. You have everything planned out. But yeah, your guardian angels are assigned to you right before you're born, and people have at least two. When I've connected with people with their guardian angels, I always see at least two, but some people have more than that. 3, 4, 5. You could have, any number, but there's always at least two, and they are always, always, always around you. And the other thing I want to just share to make it clear for everyone also listening to this is that archangels and guardian angels are different angels. So guardian angels are kind of like their own realm of angels, and archangels are their own realm of angels as well. And so archangels are universal, meaning that anyone can call on any of the angels, on any of the archangels, that they're always here to support you. Like you could call on Archangel Michael, I could call on Archangel Michael, 3,000 other people could call on Archangel Michael all at the same time, and he can come and support all of us because of the nature of how energy works. But with guardian angels, they are your personal angels, and they are always around you. So I can't call on your guardian angel and ask them to support me. You know what I mean? Like I have my own guardian angels. I have my own team. And so we can always call on our guardian angels to support us, and we can always call on the archangels. And it's just that sometimes archangels are more resonant with us, which is why, like when you guys were talking about how one of you got Metatron, the other one got Michael, and it's because in that moment, in that part of your journey, whatever you're going through, that angel was the one who's most around you and is there to support you and guide you. But they're not, quote unquote, personal to you. They could always be around you and supporting you, but they're not yours. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But people everyone has at least 2 guardian angels, if not more.
Wow. So no one's alone.
No one is alone. Yeah, never.
That's a beautiful statement. Wow. People need to realize that. If people really realize that, then they wouldn't. I think that things would change quicker.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yep.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
Man, my brain's just ticking right now. You ask a question.
I know. I still want to
ask Cristina a question.
I'm still going on the guardian angels. Do you know the names of your guardian angels?
I do. Yeah.
Ooh,
I do.
Awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah. So it's one of the things that I do actually is I connect people with their guardian angels, and I tell them their name and what they look like and how they're here to support them, because guardian angels also have, we think typically of guardian angels, obviously because of their name, of like they're guardians, they're protecting us, that kind of thing. And it's true, they do. But guardian angels also have, it extends beyond that I guess limited definition of they're there just to protect us, because part of their job as well is to make sure that we are being guided on our path. So guardian angels can also have different roles. So one of your guardian angels, there's usually a main protector angel, but then there'll be another one who supports us with, our development of our truth, or supports us with our confidence, or supports us with, making sure that we're following our path or whatever. So they will have different key roles as well. And that's one of the things that I, share with people as well. Also, when I connect them with
I need
their
to utilize
angels,
this.
So.
Yeah, I think on your website and find this. It was funny because we did in Pittsburgh. There's this full moon meditation that people do, and we actually met another channeler there.
Mm-hmm.
And I immediately asked her, like, is there anything with me?
She was rapid
100%.
fire.
Like, asked way too many questions at once and just, like, expect the answer.
Yeah.
So I think I overwhelmed her slightly. But I guess one of my spirit guides was with me. Mm-hmm. So guardian angels and spirit guides are different.
They are. Yes, they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so spirit guides.
So with spirit guides, they are like, they're from a different realm of energy. So like there's the angelic realm. And so the angels, like angelic beings, they have a specific type of energy to them. Do you know what I mean? And so spirit guides, they also have a different type of energy. And spirit guides can be, like, let's say, for example, in a past life, you could have been a spirit guide for someone else. You know what I mean? You could have lived that life, quote unquote life, as a spirit guide for someone. So we can, as souls, we can be spirit guides in different parts of our soul's journey. And so spirit guides are kind of like other energies. I guess you could technically speaking, you could say that, your personal angels are your guides as well. Like if you could, I know that some people refer to the term spirit guide as that broader term of like any kind of energy or any kind of being who is guiding you. But typically, like when we talk about spirit guides and other energies that support us, they're more of like other beings, other souls. It could be past loved ones as well, who then step forward to be your spirit guide, who guide you and support you. And I don't know, in my mind, maybe it's because I talk about angels all the time, I kind of separate those, even though they have a similar role. They still support you for your highest good, all of those things. But yeah, that's the way that I see them.
Wow. That's like it's a whole team.
There's so
many.
Yeah. It's literally like a spiritual team that are guiding you and supporting you.
I always wonder if like my spirit guides and guardian angels are just like, wow, you made another mistake. Oh, we tried to steer you a different way. We tried. You got the numbers, some of the feathers. She just didn't get it.
Yeah. I make jokes about that all the time, whether I'm like, oh, they're probably rolling their eyes at me now, or they're probably like watching this with popcorn, like saying like, what's she gonna do now? I joke about that all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Man. So are you able to see your guides and angels, or do you just have that feeling?
Yeah. So the way that it shows up for me is that I see them, but I don't see them as if like there's a person standing in front of me. I see it in my mind's eye. So like in my third eye, like if I don't know, right now as I'm talking, I see Archangel Uriel stepping forward. So Archangel Uriel, so I see him coming in, but I see his energy in my mind's eye. So it's like not in this room that I'm in, if he's standing in front of me, even though he is, but to me, it's in my mind. Do you know what I mean? So that's how I see them. And if there's any sort of like features that I'm looking at, like, so let's say, for example, when we're talking about guardian angels, like I describe the features. So they have this colored hair. This is what they're wearing. This is what color they are. I see it all in my mind's eye. And then when it comes to any sort of information that they bring to me, it will also show up as a knowing. Sometimes I'll see as well, like they'll show me like a scene, or they'll show me something unfolding, or they'll show me that person who I'm talking to, whatever's going on with them. I'll see it as a visual. They'll also tell me, so I hear them, or it just comes kind of like as a knowing or a feeling. So it's kind of a combination of all those things.
Wow. Does Uriel have anything to say?
Yeah. So one of the things that Uriel is coming forward with is with this energy of like empowerment to let everyone know who's listening today, listening to this podcast, that they have the power and the potential within them to have the spiritual connection. So, this is something that I always tell people, is that I don't see myself as like someone who's special or extra or anything like that. One of the things that I know for sure is that everyone has the ability to have a unique spiritual connection that is unique to them. That is the way that they're meant to perceive and receive energy and information from the spiritual world. And so he's coming in to kind of bring this reminder to everyone that you are already connected. Like, you are a spiritual being in the human form. You come from this world. And so of course you are already connected to this world. It's just a matter of opening up your awareness and your willingness to receive and be guided and be supported. And he's saying that as you are continuing on this path, and as you ask to be guided and ask to be supported, that's all that is needed for you to open up to your greatest potential and connection, like the strongest connection that you're meant to have. So he's reminding everyone that you all have the ability to have this connection and to grow this bond, that everyone has that ability. It's not that someone's special and other people aren't special. It's everyone has the ability to do it.
Oh, wow. Oh, man. That's so cool.
I'm like, my heart chakra is just like, whoa.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome.
Wow.
Yeah. Good.
Oh, man.
That's so cool.
Right now.
We're like, man.
If you could see, like,
yeah, if you could see us physically right now. Man, so many questions. Like, are your dreams? So do they come to you in a dream state as well?
Yeah. Yeah, they do. I've had dreams before where I would wake up from the dream not really, really remembering the details, but just having this feeling of like, oh, I was just like with the angels in this dream. You know what I mean? Like, it felt like I came back from this light, like as if I was like in this realm of just light energy, and I just came back. You know what I mean? Like, I've had those kinds of dreams. But the main way in which they actually show up for me in dreams is they'll bring in either symbols or messages, or, so I'll have like a normal, quote unquote normal, even though what is a normal dream anyways, but I'll have a dream and something will happen there where it'll be a message to me, for me to pay attention to something, or for me to recognize where maybe I need to do some healing, or, things like that, or just maybe it's showing me my next step. So they'll show up in that way as well. I've also had dreams where I've met spirit guides in my dreams, because it'll be like this name that gets repeated over and over and over again. And then I wake up from the dream and it's like that name, and I've had dreams where they're like a person there, and it's their name gets repeated and they help me through something in the dream. So yeah, so they'll show up in different ways like that, but not in the same way that I would interact with them, or the way, just now Archangel Uriel stepped forward and shared this message. I don't really have dreams like that, but I do get messages in dreams for sure.
Oh, wow. Is it easier for you to connect to certain archangels, or do they just, how does that work?
Yeah, no, it's all the same, I would say. Like, none are harder than the other. It's just a matter of who is stepping forward right now, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, no, in terms of like the connection itself, it's one of those things where as you develop your connection to the archangels, it's like you develop your connection to all of them in a way,
Oh, that's nice. That's really nice.
Yeah.
Are there any books or resources that you would recommend for people who are interested in like learning more about the archangels?
So I'll be honest and say that all of my learning has been directly with the archangels. So I've never really read any other people's books about them or anything like that. It's all been my own learning and what I teach. I would say that if for anyone who's interested to learn more, set the intention and say, I want to learn more about this. And this could be about angels or any topic about spirituality. Is I want to learn more about this topic. Guide me and show me the best resources to learn this, and then they will guide them. And what I found is that because anyone who kind of teaches or shares about spirituality or that kind of thing is based on their own experiences as well. And so different people's experiences or different ways of teaching will resonate differently for people. You know what I mean? So yeah. So personally, I can't really give any recommendations, only because I have not read anything. I haven't really read anything in that area. So, I can't speak from personal experience. Yeah. But
okay.
I downloaded your ebook for your email list.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really really cool.
That's really cool.
I like how you tell the angels. So I would say
thank you.
Our listeners should subscribe to you.
Thank you. Yeah. I definitely, one of the things that is my goal is to be, a resource for that stuff. So yeah, definitely, I have tons and tons and tons of videos on YouTube. I have a lot of videos on Facebook. Those are the two main platforms where I share different messages from the angels, but also like practical tips as well, how to heal from certain things, or how to overcome certain, issues, or how to deepen your connection to the angels. So I have a ton of resources on YouTube and Facebook where I share about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's great. I love
your wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, you are.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
And like circling back to when you were talking about Louise Hay, I love Louise Hay so much. And I had a chronic sinus condition, and that you can heal your life really like changed my life.
Yeah,
helped me heal. But
that's amazing.
I have a question. Are they the Herschel angels? Can you talk to us about them?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so they are a new angelic realm, and they stepped forward for me. It was in June of 2018. And I remember it was a moment where, because one of my practices, one of my daily routines is to tune in and channel and connect with the angels and just ask for messages. What do I need to know? What do I need to share with other people? That kind of thing. And this angel stepped forward, and I was like, I don't know who you are. Like, you're not an archangel. Like, who are you? And it was just this very, very, very powerful, strong, like high vibrational energy. And so I was like, so who are you? And she told me that her name was Alexandra. And I was like, okay, so who are you? Like, what, like, are you an archangel? Like, who are you, kind of thing? And she's like, no, I come from the Herschel angel realm. And then I was like, oh, what's that? And so then she started to give me this information. And basically the Herschel angel realm, their new realm that has stepped forward, and they are coming in. It's kind of like as a collective, our consciousness is rising at a very, very rapid level. Like maybe sometimes, if you look around the world, it doesn't feel that way, but it really is. Like there's so many people who are awakening to the spirituality, and there's so many people who are awakening to this world and asking questions, right? And asking questions like, who am I? What is my connection to spirit? What does spirit even mean to me? What is the universe? What is God? Asking these questions. So many people are waking up to that, and they're here to support us with this next kind of step in terms of our evolution, the evolution of our consciousness as we move out of this. Like there's, we're really moving through, in terms of the collective, moving through a shift in terms of like the old way of being, in terms of like ego-based, fear-based, that kind of thing. That old way of living is no longer working, and it is not going to continue to work that way. And so we're going through a big collective shift, which is why so many people on an individual level are healing, are being called to rise up into whatever their purpose is and what they're supposed to be doing. And so the Herschel angels support that shift. So they're supporting this greater evolution, this greater impact. They work in a similar way as the archangels, in the sense that they are universal. They're here to support us and guide us, but they're more of like, a lot of people are familiar with archangels, who are aware of angel realms. They're aware of the archangels. They're familiar. They're comfortable with the archangels. And for them, that's like a great way to enter into this world of spirituality. And so the Herschel angels kind of help take it to the next level, where we open up to a greater understanding of who we are and what our actual connection is to everything and everyone. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like this greater level of healing and evolution that's happening that they support. That's who they are. There's 7 that I have seen so far. But Alexandra is really like the main one who always comes in. She's the one who supports everything. She's the one who guides everything. And the other ones, I've just kind of like briefly connected to them and met them. They're more in like the background, if you want to call it. They're more like background characters for now. It's Alexandra is the main one who is stepping forward at this time to kind of like bring in her energy and bring in guidance and that sort of thing. So I do every once in a while share a message from her. She has stepped forward in a bunch of my courses that I teach. So she is making her presence known, and I feel like it's just going to continue to grow.
Oh,
you know?
Wow.
So they're here to help with this,
with the
like,
shift.
ascension.
Yeah, the ascension.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
So could people call on them as well? Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So they can call on them and ask for the support. At this time, I feel like it's more about like asking them to guide the energy, guide them in their journey. In terms of like anyone wants to like practice channeling and like actually tuning into the angels, I would say that archangels are better to start with because they are much more they're much more present. Like their energy is much more I don't know what the right word is to describe it. It's almost like they're much more dense or much more present in within our earthly realm, that it's easier to connect with the archangels than it would be with the Herschel angels. So you can definitely pray to the Herschel angels and ask them to guide you and support you. But if you want to practice tuning in and actually channeling, then the archangels is the best place to start with that.
Okay. Oh, cool. Okay.
Very cool.
Yeah. Oh, yay.
I
I was too. Oh man, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
I guess that's like good because the world is like you said, where the vibration is like higher, or like where like things are getting better is what I'm saying. That's like a good sign, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like we are moving through a big shift and changes, and we are like as we as individuals raise our vibration and do our inner healing work and that kind of thing, we support the collective to do so as well. You know what I mean? It's like we each of us as individuals have a huge impact on the collective energy, and that's why, you know, when people ask, like, what's the best thing that I can do to help, you know, maybe even people, loved ones around me to support them on their journey, or what's the best thing that I can do to help the world? And I would say the best thing you can do is for you to connect to your true self and shine your light and heal anything that is, you know, blocking you and holding you back from doing that, because the most important thing the world needs is you. It needs your energy. It needs your light. It needs what your gifts, what you can bring. And when each of us steps into whatever that is for us as individuals, we create a ripple effect in the world. And we, you know, our light shines. And it's like kind of like if you imagine your light shining, like if you just imagine like a ball of light shining from you, it's like that, those rays of light, they impact so many different people that it's almost like it sparks that light to be expanded from each individual person as well. And that's what the ripple effect is. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow. So just working on yourself is like enough sometimes. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Working on yourself and then sharing whatever it is that you are called to share, whatever it is that you feel called to help people with, like stepping into that as you do your own healing and just bringing your gifts into the world and being who you were meant to be.
Okay. So let's say you're interested in connecting with the archangels, but you're not too familiar with who to connect with. Like, what advice would you give our listeners? Could they just ask the angels, or how would they go about that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So generally speaking, you can make it as a general ask and say, archangels, please help me with this, or please connect with me, show me that you're here, give me a sign. You can do a general ask if you want to, just kind of like to begin to open up that communication and to just begin to invite them in. But in addition to that, what I would say is that if you know any of the angels, or if you know, watch videos on YouTube or whatever, and get to know some of the angels, the ones that resonate most with you, you know, listening to who they are and how they support you specifically and that kind of thing, you can then, based on that, decide, oh, I really like Archangel Raphael. I'm going to start connecting with him. You know what I mean? And start deciding based on that. Because like I said, the archangels they're all always available and ready to support all of us. So, so you can choose based on that of, I'm going to call on Archangel Raphael. I'm going to start working with him. But if you're really new and you're like, I have no idea who to call on, then you can do it as a general ask, and they will still step forward and support you.
Okay. Oh man. Oh, that's so cool. We're having so much fun talking to you.
Yeah, me too. This is awesome.
You are a wealth of knowledge. Like, we're just sitting here.
It's even better that this all came to you. It's even better.
Gosh, I think that's amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah. It's so amazing.
Thank you. Yeah. It's pretty crazy, you know, when I reflect back on my journey, and even just sharing it with you guys, I was like, oh, wow, like that's crazy. You know, thinking back now, I'm like, this is so interesting how it all just unfolded. When I remember at that time, I was like, what am I, you know, I've had many moments where I'm like, am I crazy? Like, what am I doing with my life? You know, kind of like, what am I doing with my business? You know, before I was making that transition. And now I look back, I'm like, oh, okay, I see what I'm doing, you know?
But like this all had to happen this way.
Yeah.
Like, would you say that like your past chronic condition with the eczema was like a nudge from the universe, like, hey, you can figure this out? And then when you did the next step and you did your holistic healing, and then you're like, okay, well, she's almost there, so we have to nudge her again. And then that's what really pushed you into this now. It's so crazy.
So, like, there's subtle nudges.
Yeah, like there's subtle nudges. Like the initial nudge was, the main sickness. And then it's like, okay, well, she didn't take the next step. Okay, now we got to do it again.
Yeah, totally. To me, it is always a sign of showing me where maybe I'm not quite in alignment, or with, in alignment with whatever my next step is. And so it's kind of like showing me, it's like my signal of like, okay, there's something that I need to do, or something that I'm doing right now that is holding me out of alignment, or something that I need to do to step into greater alignment. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, absolutely, it's like a nudge from the universe saying, this is what's going on. And so it's like my body's way of telling me, something's up. You have to look at what's going on so that you can, because I've had experiences since then. I've had one experience since then where it was a sign for me of like, oh, I'm, giving my power away in the situation, or I'm not truly like speaking or standing strong in my truth. This is what I need to change. And as soon as I shift into like whatever it is that I need to do to move into alignment, it's like it goes away right away. It's crazy. It's like my little like, signal of like, oh, there's something going on. My body's not responding as well. Like, what's going on? You know what I mean? Yeah.
I understand completely.
Yeah. Because our like bodies are connected spiritually. So if there's something
energetically wrong,
then
man,
it can manifest physically.
Yeah.
How many questions are like guardian angels? Like my own personal questions. Like,
so whenever like one is getting guidance from the angels, are they very persistent? Like if you don't get it, do they keep like trying to give you signs? Do they just kind of like, oh, here it is, and let it go?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And yeah, the thing is that they will definitely bombard you with signs. And if it's something that you really need to pay attention to, that you're not paying attention to, they will do whatever needs to happen so that you get the message and you get the sign. I know a lot of people, they'll say to me like, I'm worried that I'm not getting the message, or I'm not really understanding what they want me to do or whatever. And I would say, don't worry, they will make sure that you get it and that you receive it in a way that you will understand. You know what I mean? Because different people receive signs different ways, or their awareness is open to different things. And the way that you receive a message may be different than the way I receive a message, but either way, the message will be received. And that's the most important thing. So yeah, they are very persistent. And especially, when we ask them, when we keep asking, it's also important to know that, and this goes with any type of spiritual guidance or connection, is that it is important for us to ask for that guidance because of our free will. And so because we have free will, if we are acting in a way where we're just like, I'm going to figure it out on my own, I'm going to like figure this out, I know I've got this, whatever, and we don't ask for support, then it's like the angels and spirit guides, they have to respect our free will. They can't really step in as much, like because we're not inviting them in. Whereas as soon as we say, angels, guides, universe, whatever, please guide me, support me, show me what I need to do, what do I need to do in this situation, whatever, then it's like we've opened up the door and we're like, yeah, please support me and guide me and show me the higher, the highest potential, or what's for the highest good. Now, having said that, it doesn't mean that they're not going to protect you, like in life-threatening situations or anything like that. Like, yes, they always protect us and guide us and support us in those moments. But it's like the small things, or like in terms of our bigger purpose or bigger potential, they may take a little bit of a step back if we're not consciously inviting them in. Does that make sense?
Yes, okay, makes complete sense.
Yeah.
So can you leave that door permanently open? like, yes.
mentally
in my head, yeah. Like, please intervene, give me clarity.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that is so funny.
That is so funny.
Oh, wow. So whenever people are like,
yeah,
oh, they don't care, they're not listening, it's probably just because they're not open to that help, maybe.
Yeah. Or the other thing too, and this is actually one of the other messages that I was guided to share today. So I'm glad that you brought this up. And this is from Archangel Gabriel, who has stepped forward earlier also. And what he said was, it is your faith and trust in your connection, in your ability to ask for guidance and support that strengthens the bond and the connection. So what often happens is that, and again, this is just what I, based on my experience, what I hear from people is that they'll say, I've been asking for guidance or asking for messages, and I feel like they're not listening to me. And they'll be like, they'll ask me like, are the angels hearing what I have to say? Like, are they listening to me? Or saying something like that. And it's understandable that we feel that way, because it feels like we're talking to the air, or like the unseen. We don't really see it, right? So when we're so used to something being so physical and tangible to us, which means it's real, that's what we associated with real, right? Growing up in this world, that when we are talking to something that is not seen with the physical eye, it can kind of feel like, oh, is this actually real? And the other thing too is that we're so used to having like immediate response or immediate like instant gratification, right? Or immediate signs or whatever. And sometimes they can come in, but sometimes the guidance takes time. Like, it has to come in the timing when it's supposed to come to you. And so when we don't receive something right away, we can start going into panic mode and be like, oh, they're not listening to me, or did they hear me, or whatever. And so the biggest, one of the most important things with regards to your spiritual connection and just growing that connection, growing that bond with the angels and with the universe, is trusting that as you have that faith and trust in your request and in your connection, that is actually what strengthens the bond. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, we don't get that tangible proof until we really have faith and trust in something that we do not even see. So that's what's really important with regards to this. And if maybe you are in a place, at some point you're asking for guidance or whatever, and it feels like nothing's coming in, it's about releasing your expectation of when it's coming in, because we're like, okay, where's the answer? Instead of just being like, and just allowing and just saying, yeah, I asked, which means that I'm going to get a response, or I am going to be guided, or whatever, and letting go of your need to get an instant answer, or your need to know right away. Okay. Do you know what I mean?
So you're going to get the answer whenever it's time for you.
Yes.
That's really interesting.
And I think that's something that people have a hard time dealing with.
Yeah.
We want, instant gratification. We want instant.
Definitely.
We want the answers now.
Mm-hmm. We want it to be like Google. We want the angels.
We want the angels to be Google.
Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly it. And so when we don't get it, we're like, oh, it's not working.
Yeah, because then your ego kicks in, and you're like, okay, well, it's not real. Like, I'm just desperate, or whatever, whatever self-talk people are using.
Yeah.
And they convince yourself otherwise. That's so interesting.
Yeah. You talk yourself out of it.
You talk yourself out of it. You talk yourself out of hearing
or seeing.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And then when you think, oh, like, they're not hearing me, or I'm not going to get guidance, or whatever, that thinking is exactly what blocks the information from coming to you. It's not that they're going to withhold the information, be like, oh, she doesn't believe, I'm not going to give it to her. It's not like that. But it's more of the fact that your awareness closes. So it's like they're trying to give you the information, but you're closed off now because of that belief that your awareness isn't even open to receiving that guidance anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's what's happening. It's not because they're like, oh, she doesn't believe, forget it, we're not going to give her the answer. It's not that. It's just
get the juice.
yeah. It's just that we block it from ourselves.
That is something.
So we have more power in that regard than
we do. Think. It's just you programming the way you think and feel.
Yeah,
we're so conditioned to be a certain way and expect certain things that we close off to the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I hope everybody listening to this is feeling the same way I'm feeling.
Yeah. We're just like, oh, this is so good.
So good. Such a good conversation.
Yeah, totally.
We have many more questions, but I don't want to tie you up too long.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I think we could end it and not keep you
keep you for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
How can people find you? What kind of services do you have? Tell them anything you want about your website and what you do.
Cool. Yeah, awesome. Thank you. So the main places where you can find me on social media are on YouTube and on Facebook. So if you literally just search my name, Cristina Aroche, and on YouTube or on Facebook, you will find me. I have a Facebook page where I do a lot of live videos. And YouTube, I post every single week. I post a weekly message. It's called a Monday Angel Message. And I often also post a second video every week as well, just sharing whatever it is that is relevant in that moment. And I do also have a private Facebook group that's free to join as well. And in that's kind of like my private community where people can come in to share about their spiritual journey or ask questions or connect with other people who are on a similar path. Because like you guys mentioned at the beginning of this, when we're on this journey of spiritual growth and awakening and discovering all this stuff, it can feel very lonely because it feels like no one else really understands or believes in the same stuff. And so I've created this community specifically for people to not feel alone and to be able to make connections with other people who believe in the same things and are going through this learning and stuff like that. In that Facebook group is called Angelic Healing and Support. It's just my name on all the other social medias, on YouTube and on my Facebook page. And then in terms of my work and what I do, so I do offer private angel sessions. So these are one-on-one sessions where I have a guardian angel reading session where I share about who your guardian angels are, how many you have, what their names are, how they're supporting you, their signs and messages for you, all this stuff, all this information about your guardian angels. And then I also do offer kind of angel guidance and healing sessions where we do actual healing with the archangels, any other angels that step forward for you, and you can ask any questions that you have, and I channel the guidance from the angels to support you. And then I do also offer one-on-one programs. So one of my most favorite programs that I have is called the Angelic Healer Certification Program, and this is where I mentor and guide people who are on this path and who know that they are healers, that they're meant to be healers, and that want to work with the angels and want to work with energy and want to learn how to channel angels to support, whatever work they want to do in the world. I do have that program. And then I have a spiritual awakening program. So you can check all of that out on my website, which is also just CristinaAroche.com. All the information is there, but definitely come and join the online communities because that is the place where people connect and where I share a whole bunch of information and, go deeper into all of the stuff that we just talked about today.
Oh man, that's so cool.
We'll put it in the description box below.
We'll link everything.
Yeah, we'll link it. Cool. That's so awesome. This is such a good conversation. Yeah. Thank you again so much for connecting with us and sharing these messages and knowledge. It's just, amazing. It's amazing. Mm-hmm. And it's nice that people can do this as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm so happy that I was able to come on here and share this with you guys. So thank you so much. This was so much fun for me to be able to share this.
Hope to have you back for sure.
Yeah, I would love that. Absolutely.
Yeah,
definitely. Oh man, this is great.
Yeah.
Well, all right.
Well, thank you again.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. I am sure that I will chat with you guys later.
We hope you enjoyed this talk all about the angels with Cristina Aroche. As usual, at the end of every episode, we like to send our listeners distant Reiki. The Reiki session begins when the music starts playing. We recommend you do not operate any machinery while listening, and if you are driving, wait until you get home. It might make you sleepy. To receive the energy, all you have to do is sit back, relax. You can meditate if you would like, and be open to receiving. Reiki transcends time and distance, so it does not matter when you listen. You can actually tune in as often as you like. For more information on Reiki, go to ETTAARLENE.com/Reiki. Thanks for listening. Bye.